This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting each other, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your first guide, Tracy C. Wright.
And I'm your second guide, Millie Pampina.
And today we have a wonderful guest, Randi Botnick. She began her healing career in 1997 by getting her first Reiki certification. Now she followed that by becoming a Shakim Seikim Reiki master. And around the same time, she received the integrative yoga teacher certification and opened Spirit Within Studios in Southern Maryland, where she ran a yoga, meditation classes, and offered Reiki healing sessions. In 2003, Randi became a clinical hypnotherapist and for many years had a private practice which offered both Reiki healing and hypnotherapy sessions. Over the years, she incorporated flower essences into her practice and received certifications in the Result System and Access Conscientious Bars, as well as a variety of other energy healing practices. As she has certified hundreds of Reiki practitioners and masters, and while working at Well-Being Holistic Pharmacy in Owings Mill, Maryland, she added detailed information about supplements and nutrition in her repertoire. Over the years, she has taught classes in mind-body medicine, self-healing, and self-growth. In 2014, she began channeling a galactic group called the Federation of Councils. The following year, she authored a book, Foundations of Energy Healing, the essential guide for opening into the quantum field. The book covers all aspects of healing, from detailed descriptions of the human energy field, utilizing kinesiology, clarifying your intuitive abilities, connecting with your healing guides, and includes over 20 emotional and energetic clearing techniques to practice on yourself and your clients. These days, Randi has an active practice, psychic healing practice, consistently channels both healing and spiritual information for groups and clients, and offers classes on spiritual teaching. She currently resides in Black Mountain, North Carolina. So welcome, Randi, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here.
Wonderful. So I have given our listeners just a little bit about you. So let's go in and find out. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, these days I am residing in the mountains in Western North Carolina with my animals. And so I see private clients, and that's what I spend most of my time doing. And I offer these psychic healing sessions. And I'm also teaching classes about esoteric and spiritual information. And those classes are tied to information that I get from the channeling sessions. And these days I'm channeling a group called the Starseed Nation. And they're here to really support us through this ascension process and all the planetary changes that we're going through. And so I spend a lot of my time doing that and kind of building that up. They're very eager to get their messages out, so it's good.
Wonderful. I love that. So our next question is obviously about the Reiki. So when did Reiki come into your life? And did you find Reiki or did Reiki find you?
Reiki totally found me. That's such a good question. I never really think about it that way, but it was amazing what happened to me. It was really like a spiritual calling where I was working for a foundation in Washington, D.C. I'd gotten a graduate degree, in business and everything. And I was young and I was working, and suddenly out of nowhere, I started getting the sense that I wanted to start healing with my hands. And I didn't even know what that meant. Like, really, I didn't know anybody who did it. I didn't have a mentor or nothing. And shortly after that, I found Diane Stein's Essential Reiki book. And I thought, well, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. I got that book, and I'm not kidding. Within a couple of days, a friend of mine said, I just met someone in town who teaches. And so I got in touch with her, and I knew it was going to change my life, you know? And so this was all in 1997 when no one else had done it before. And I met the teacher, I met one other woman, and we started practicing on each other. We just did Reiki shares. I don't remember if it was once a week or whatever, but I slowly realized through them that it was a real, you know, it's a gift of mine. It was something that came very naturally to me. I got it very quickly. I was able to, you know, take the information, kind of run with it. So yeah, that's how it found me. It was pretty wild.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And who would have ever imagined that it would take you to where you are today, right?
Right, exactly. Like the whole journey that this last 25 years has been. It's crazy.
Wonderful, wonderful. So 25 years of experience, you have lots of modalities under your belt, written a book. What do you find is the most common misperception about the work that you do?
I think it's that, you know, the recipient needs to believe it because, you know, you meet people who don't believe it, but I always want to say to them, it doesn't really matter. It's true anyway. It's real. And you might not perceive it the way I perceive it, but it's real. So, you know, it doesn't really matter whether or not you think it's real.
Right, right. I love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. So, what is something that everybody in this industry should start doing?
Everyone in this industry should start doing. I think maybe to you know, really challenge themselves to go deeper into it and really see what the energy can do. I know I spent a lot of my time when I was younger kind of, you know, praying, show me what's happening. I want to see it. I want to understand it. And so in many ways training myself or receiving the training from my guides. And I think that's what first of all made me better at what I do, made me able to teach and write the book certainly. And you know, it's what helped propel me forward all along. I wasn't just a passive observer of Reiki. I really dove in. And I think that, you know, I think that that's highly beneficial.
Yes, it's very beneficial to dive right in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, as you're having all these experiences, written a book, helping others, what is something you wish your younger self knew about your current profession?
Just how much it would change my life, like how much spiritual and emotional growth was going to happen. I mean, I don't even remember who I was before Reiki. I've heard a lot of people say that, and it's very true. The movement energetically and from a soul level is profound. And certainly I would never have known that that was going to happen. I knew it was going to change my life. You know, I was aware that something was going to happen, but not that. And so that's, you know, and the other thing is, you know, give a healing, get a healing. So every time you work on someone, you're improving. And again, I just didn't understand how deep that would take me. And I would say the other thing that I wish my younger self would have understood is that when you do this as a business, you're everything in the business, right? You're the marketer, the bookkeeper, the promoter, you know, the website designer, everything. And so I know that's true for any small entrepreneur, but it can be challenging, and there's a lot to that. And you know, I don't know how much of that I really understood 25 years ago.
Right,
I
right.
was going to be the sole purpose, the sole person moving my business forward. So
Right, right, right. It's a lot to move forward in, right?
it is. There's so much.
Absolutely.
Luckily, right?
Right, absolutely. So, when it is time for you to get a Reiki tune up, or perhaps the reason why you've chosen the teachers that you have, what are some qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner?
Sure. First, I look for intuition. I feel like that's really important. And what that means to me is that they're getting out of their head and they're dropping their own judgments or perceptions about things and staying open to what's happening in the field, what's happening for me. And then from there, confidence. And two, I think that confidence is also getting out of your head, not thinking that you have to know something or that you do know anything, but holding space in a way that says, I can facilitate this by just being here with you. So those two things are really important to me. And then I would say the third thing is boundaries, because no one likes to go to a healer or a teacher and feel like you're having an effect on them. You want to be in the receptive mode of receiving from them, not adding to their burden in any way or whatever, or even to be totally honest, even hearing too much about their burden. You know, I think we all have stories of going to a healer and having them take up the whole hour. Right. So having those boundaries that are clear, very important to me as well.
Very good. Very good advice. Thank you for that. So what advice would you give someone who is just entering this profession? So that kind of leads into what you just said.
Yeah. But I think too, you know, don't take on too many modalities at once. It's really good to keep learning, but you don't have to know everything. And if you do have if you're drawn to a whole bunch of different modalities and you really want to do, you know, deepen this way and that way, that's great. But when you're describing yourself to people, I've seen a lot of healers like offer each modality on their website and say, I do this particular thing, which maybe I've never heard of and I don't know what it is. And then Reiki, and then hypnotherapy, and then this, and then that, and ask the clients to choose which one that they might want. And instead, I would say, you know, if you want to keep adding to your stew of who you are and what you do, that's great. But make it your own thing, you know, let it mix and meld together so that it's yours. And then just show up that way for people. Because the other is very overwhelming. If I see 6 or 7 things on someone's website, I don't ever know how I'm supposed to pick one. And I prefer to go to a healer who brings everything together and just shows up for me, you know?
Right, right. I can see how that can be overwhelming, because many of us on this journey, we feel like, you know, what else do we need to add to that stew that you said, whether it's credibility or you just feel you're not there yet. That's giving you that extra layer of confidence, but just getting out there, doing it and mixing it all into this beautiful way that you do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And I think too, I really do understand. And I've learned a lot over the years as well, of course. But there is something about, you know, taking it all and showing up with confidence as the facilitator for the work, right? We're not the actual instruments that are healing. We're the facilitators of the energy. And so we want to present that way rather than come to me and I'll fix you because of this, this, and this, you know? It's a little bit of a different way to address it.
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. So what books do you recommend? And you can include your book in this as well.
I do include my book. Yes. Oh my gosh, I happen to have it right here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please share with us.
Yeah. So this is Foundations of Energy Healing, the Essential Guide for Opening into the Quantum Field. And, you know, I wrote this book because I realized I would have loved a book like this when I was starting, something that really explained to me how everything fits together. And I'm a holistic thinker. So I wrote a book like that. I said, okay, you know, this is how you would use your intuition. This is what the energy field looks like. And I go quite into depth with many different layers of the energy field. And then this is how you might see it. This is how you might work with it. This is how you might use kinesiology to like test your answers. And I included how to work with your spirit guides, and I included how to, I think you had mentioned in the introduction, I have many different techniques for working on yourself or your clients emotionally and spiritually, and doing all sorts of cleansing practices. So I think this is a great book. So let's see. Essential Reiki by Diane Stein. Again, I thought she just explained everything so well and was so clear. And it's my favorite because it was my first. My Shakim Seikim Reiki teacher wrote a book called All Love. Her name is Diane Shoemaker. And her book is also the quintessential, pull it all together and really explain it. And she even offers how to do attunements in the book. So that's pretty cool. There's another book I would recommend. Is called Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anadea Judith. And it's about the whole chakra system. It's about how the Eastern philosophy looked at the chakra system and then how it shows up in our life in an everyday way. And I thought, for me, when I was first learning, that book was so well put together and just exactly, perfectly what I needed. So
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
So our next question is, I listed some of them in the beginning of the intro, but listen up, listeners. What are some of the other modalities that you offer? What services do you offer?
Right. So most of my remote work, all of my remote work is what I call psychic healing. So again, I have culled all of my skill set into one thing. And it's like getting a reading and a healing in one. And I move through the physical issues. I move through family lineage, ancestry, karma, lifetimes, all that stuff. And so it's really an all-in-one deep, deep healing that can really help people make changes in their lives and really help people shift out of the old paradigm and the old blocks and create some beautiful new movement in their life. When people come to me in person, this is a new technique that I just learned this year. And it's called the Lotus of Life healing. And it uses an actual physical sacred geometry that I move over people's body, and the geometry itself sort of clears the pathway between our humanity and our spirit self. And so it's clearing and cleaning and opening and opening this doorway to the basically the starseed and the spirit energy finally connecting in. So that's been really cool too, really powerful for people. And those are the two things I do primarily healing wise. And then the third thing is that I'm a channel, and I bring in this information from the Galactics. And really, they are wanting us to feel safe and joyful during this major transition on the planet, which is pretty difficult at times and kind of crazy and chaotic. And their consistent message is, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to help you through this, and stay in your heart, and stay in your joy, and stay in yourself. And we're going to teach you how to move through this.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell our listeners how they can reach out to you if they want to book a session. How do we find you?
Thank you. Well, the best way to find me is my website, which is randibotnick.com. And I think that's going to be in the podcast notes. And so you can, please sign up for my free newsletter. That way you can stay in touch with what I'm offering. And that's the best way to do it. And all my events are listed on my website as well. So, you can stay in touch, and you can take some of the classes. Some of them are free, some of them are not free, but there's a lot of good information on there. There's also a lot of free guided meditations on the website as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, Randi, this completes our journey together. And I'm going to pass you over to my co-guide, Millie Pampina, who has 3 social media questions for you. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Tracy.
Millie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Randi, thank you so much for sharing, especially some of your personal insight. I liked so much the idea that, not making the clients choose the type of treatments that they need, but being a facilitator of the healing energies and the healing that you can bring to them, by working with them. That says a lot too. I know we get a lot of folks who say they have to have a good sense about their practitioner. They have to have a good they want to feel like they're being heard, and that makes everything so much more real to me. And I appreciate hearing that from a practitioner. I really, really do. Now, as Tracy mentioned, it's, we gather questions from our viewing and listening audience.
Great.
And, we have 3 for you today. Tracy boils them down to the top 3. And, I work with you on that. So it's the first one is, excuse me. Helps if I have my notes in front of me the right way.
Doesn't it always?
What strategies do you use to ensure that all aspects of your client's health are addressed during a session or / your treatment plan? Boy, that goes right to what I just talked about. So
Great. Yeah. So I start by asking very thorough questions at the beginning of any session, right? So it's my job to try to uncover what people might know about themselves, but not even think of saying. And so I take that very seriously. And then I rely heavily on my psychic and intuitive perceptions to, once the session starts, to be able to see the pockets of energy and where they're held in the body or in the field. And so I'm looking for physical issues, I'm looking for emotional issues, I'm looking for the different timelines and things like that in somebody's field. So I'm really assessing through the energy bodies where things are held and then I can see where they start, right? So along with that sort of work, I do have expertise with all sorts of supplements and vibrational remedies. And those are also brought in with a little bit of both the skill set, the knowledge skill set, and the intuition. Like something will pop in, like this would be perfect, So I'm looking for all of that at the same time when I do any session with a person.
that's great. That's fantastic. I'm sure we would all enjoy having a more holistic approach to all of those elements. Thank you.
Because we need to understand that the energetics respond to the physicality, and the physicality respond to the energetics. That's how we're built. And so it's wonderful to make sure that we're choosing remedies that are the key to the lock,
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Well, thank you. The second question we have, Randi, is how do you handle difficult conversations with people who are not open to your type of work?
Yeah. Part of me wanted to answer this by saying, oh, I stay away. But in truth, let me say that I really honor everybody's free will, first of all, and everybody's at a different place with their own healing and what goes on in the world. And so I know that a lot of people aren't ready yet for something that's non-allopathic Western medicine, and that's got to be okay. And and so if they're not ready to hear about these other modalities and they don't want to discuss them, I don't push it. I really don't push it. I don't feel that I have to prove anything about myself. And I really don't think I have to prove anything about the energy work, because I'm clear that it's powerful and that it works. I'm also clear that it's not the first step for every single thing, and so everything within balance.
Yeah. I love it, because I had, sketched out some notes here while you were talking to Tracy. And one of the things you said is, they don't believe it's real. And, the patient doesn't have to believe it's real. It's real even if the patient does not believe it. I love the confidence you have in your practice, in your delivery. So
Thanks. Thank you.
that's wonderful. And that's meaningful. That's very meaningful. So our third question is, how do you stay informed about new developments in holistic health care?
I have a lot of good friends who are healers and who are medical practitioners. So I have an incredible community of people, and we share a lot of information, and we call each other with questions. And so I find that I get information about new things all the time, and then I feel into whether I'm going to try them or not. But I also just hold that as like, that could be something really important for somebody that I know. The other thing is that there are definitely certain teachers and healers that I follow, and I get their newsletters and their information, and then so that's mostly the way. And then finally, because of my background already in the supplements and the remedies and everything, when I do my own research, I'm able to discern. I'm able to discern, like, I don't think that would work, or, oh, that's pretty cool, I think we should try that one. And so those are the ways that I think of it like staying awake, and those are the ways that I stay awake with all that stuff.
That's great. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. And the last question I have for you, which is not from social media, is there anything that during your conversation with Tracy and I that you may have recalled or remembered or would like to elaborate on? We always know that something pops in, and, we want to give people an opportunity to discuss that.
Yeah. I think I just want to reiterate that getting Reiki training is such a great way to do your own healing. And so even if you don't think you're going to become a healer, even if you don't think you're going to design a website and get out there and sell, I think that if you have something minor like aches or pains, if you have something like an autoimmune issue, if you have something other chronic, just even getting the Reiki attunements it is a healing process. And you learn to work on yourself all the time. You learn to understand yourself better. You begin to attune into your body more. And all of that, I think, is just so, so helpful. And so I really recommend doing the training, regardless of where you are in your life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, with that, I'm going to end with my tagline, which is to see beauty in everything is a choice. Please choose wisely. And thank you so much, Randi, for joining us today. And I'm going to turn this back over to our co-guide, Tracy Seawright. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Randi, so much for joining us on Ready, Set, Reiki. It was a true honor to have you come with us on this journey.
Thank you so much. Can I mention that I would love people to connect with me, that if anybody wants more information or has any questions or anything like that, I offer a free consultation call. There's a link in the podcast notes, but there's also a link on my homepage. And I would love to talk to anyone who in any way wants more information.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, our wonderful listeners, if you would like one of your questions featured on our podcast, reach out to us at www.readysetreiki.com and find us through social media. We would love to share your question with our guest and the world. And also check us out on Feather Sister Wellness. So we offer a variety of yoga, meditation, Reiki, and Reiki trainings. And Millie offers once a month Reiki meditation, the third Wednesday of every month. So make sure to check that out. It is free and you can have your camera and mic off. So what a blessing that is. So my name is Tracy Seawright and this has been Ready, Set, Reiki.